Okay. Three of these. Wow. What's going on, guys? I hope you're doing well. My name is Elijah Fitz. Welcome back to the Photo Fitz podcast known as My Story Unsolved. Because I have a life story, and it is very much unsolved. And one of those aspects that are very much unsolved, and that I would very like to solve, but I don't think I will ever solve, is the fact that I don't sleep, and I barely eat. And sometimes I'm in a crappy mood, and sometimes I'm in a happy mood, and sometimes I'm doing this fake BS where I'm pretending to be in a happy mood, and it's so blatantly obvious because I'm talking in the most sarcastic voice imaginable. And sometimes I just really couldn't care less. And you could tell by my facial expression. And then sometimes I'm just talking my normal voice, so it sounds like I'm just not liking life, period. So half the time people don't even notice because this is my normal voice. And I spent so long not being happy that at this point people don't notice the difference. That's a complete lie. People notice the difference when I'm happy and not. But I also don't smile that often. So... oh my god, what am I doing? Anyways, if it wasn't obvious, if it wasn't blatantly obvious because I mentioned it, this segment is about sleep. I'm no expert on sleep. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend to be. Sleep is important, it's good for the health. But for like the last few months, I just haven't slept. And that's because I have the so unfortunate measure of having nightmares. And you might be like, wait, you're 20 years old, and you have nightmares? Well, I'm gonna laugh at you in your face now, because that sucks. And yeah, it does suck, but you probably shouldn't laugh in my face. I don't know why. I assume it's probably because of my depression and anxiety and the fact that I don't really eat that great that I have nightmares. But these aren't your typical killer clown nightmares. These are things trying to murder me in my sleep. The amount of times where I've woken up and I've seen a shadow figure at the foot of my bed. And anyone that knows me knows that I do believe that I'm haunted. That I'm being haunted by a demonic, malevolent spirit that for whatever reason wants me dead. And I did a spirit box session a while back for my paranormal series, haunted nightmare. I forget what it's called. And I did a spirit box session, and I asked, what do you want to do to me? And you can hear to kill you. And since then, I barely sleep. I got like 3 to, if I'm lucky, 5 or 6 hours. And then there are days where I just sleep all day. And you might be like, wait, didn't you just say you don't sleep? Yeah, I don't sleep. So there's sleep, and then there's REM sleep, which is, I believe, deep sleep. And I don't get into the deep sleep. But I take the other door. The door that you have no option to take or not. It just kind of flings itself out at you like a creepy hallway scene where it's at the end of the door and then you're standing at the hallway and you're like, I want to turn around and go the other way, but you turn around and it's behind you as well. And then it engulfs you and you die. And if this was a horror movie, I am the character that gets chased, that gets attacked, then gets hung upside down with the blood going to my head, and I'm the one that gets stabbed and prodded by the killer in the horror movies, and I'm the one that dies at the end of the horror movie, or I survive and wish that I was dead at the end of the horror movie. I'm that character. Because the amount of times I go to sleep and wake up in the middle of the night because of nightmares is horrifyingly horrendous. I don't know why it happens, to be honest. But for the last few months, I've had horrible nightmares of my death, from drowning to suffocation to me being murdered. And basically how this works is I am seeing everything through my eyes. I have no control over my body. However, I do have control over my pain receptors and my nerves, so I can feel things. So if I'm stabbed in a nightmare, I wake up feeling like someone has stabbed me. I had a nightmare the other night. It wasn't even night, it was like 11. I took a nap. Took a little nap during the day. And it was like a 1 hour nap. And during that nap, I had a nightmare. And in that nightmare, I had a building come crashing down on me. And my arm basically got pinned underneath something. A piece of concrete that fell. And since that nightmare, I wake up now and my entire arm down to my feet, to my toes, to here, just like the entire thing feels stiff. And moving my arm hurts. I've had dreams where I've been drowned and I would wake up having a hard time breathing, like if I was underwater and water was going into my lungs, or my lungs were just full of water. And you may be like, okay, dude, that's weird. You're insane. You're probably gonna die. I'm out of here. And then there's probably people like, you probably should go see help. I am seeing help. But it still happens. I've had nightmares since I was a kid. But never to this extent. And yes, I know that sounds so bizarre and so weird, but it happens. I'm not entirely sure why things like that seem to happen to me. But there are days where I just don't sleep at all. There are days in a week where I get like 8 hours of sleep over the course of 3-4 days, I've gotten 8 hours of sleep. That's not like I've gotten 8 hours of sleep each day. That is, I've gotten 4 hours of sleep throughout the week, or 8 hours of sleep, throughout the week, individually, on individual nights, like 1 hour a night, I would get sleep. And that would add up to 8 hours. It's weird, it's bizarre. I'll probably do another segment diving deeper into the nightmares at some point and the sleep. But it's weird, it's bizarre. And I know these things, these podcasts, and like these are meant to be entries. They're not meant to be 1 hour long of someone talking. They're just, if I want to do like a 5-minute talking clip, I'll do a 5-minute talking entry. I look at these as entries. If I have something on my mind, I will sit down, I will record myself doing it, and I'll post it. These are entries to what I want to do. With things, I guess, I don't know. I don't care. That's a lie, I do care. But if I just want to do like a 10-minute thing for me talking about a nightmare briefly, and then at some other point do like a 30-minute entry talking more into it, I'll do it. It's something, they're like diary journal entries for me, not big planned out podcasts. And I think that's why I don't really do podcasts, and why I'm having a hard time doing this podcast, because I don't want to have like 5 topics per week in one thing. I want to do an entry once a week, or have come out once a week, where I can just be like, yeah, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to talk about in today's entry. And if you have a problem with that, okay. Not sure why you'll be watching me if you ever, or listening if you have a problem with how I do things. But it's just how I choose to do stuff. I don't have the greatest attention span ever, so sitting down and listening to a 1 hour and 35-minute video isn't gonna work for me. Sometimes it does if I'm doing something else and I just have it on in the background, but if I'm invested in it, I'll watch it over the course of a day. It's like a 1 hour and 30-minute podcast I'll watch or listen to over the course of a day, or a week. But I'm just going over this assumption that not everyone has long attention spans. So like a 5-minute to 13-minute entry is probably all they're gonna watch. And yes, sometimes I do longer, sometimes I don't. But like I said, these are just supposed to be entries. It's like the photo fits journal. I'm doing journal entries. That's what I'm doing, journal entries. Yes, these are journal entries, visual, auditory entries, where I am putting on Spotify and other places the audio portion and the visual on my YouTube channel. And those short little entries, not really. I'm not keen on sitting in a chair for an hour to 2 hours talking about random things, because if I did that, it would probably be a bunch of silence for 2 hours. Just really want to sit in a chair talking for 2 hours, I'd rather do little entries every week, or every other week, or whenever I feel like it. Like, I filmed 3 little entries, around 5 to, like, I think the longest one was 30 minutes. But that's what I feel like doing, and I hope you could accept that and be okay with that. Anyways, guys, I'll go more into the nightmares and the lack of sleep in other episodes, but I'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye.